Hi guys, so we are continuing with dinosaurs and we're looking at the work of an illustrator called Pete Oswald. Now let's have a close-up look at them. Look at the kind of marks, the drawn lines onto it, the splashy marks. You can describe what you see in the box below. Think about things like the darkness on the belly and the dark on the underside of the tail that might be giving a little bit of volume. The type of eye that the illustrator has used. So if you write some notes, if they're on the worksheet or on a piece of paper, that's absolutely fine. They're going to help prompt you with the next task. So Miss Berry has put some silhouettes together of dinosaurs, which you can print out, or you could use imagery that you've already worked with. And what we're going to get you to do, I'll show you, there's a worksheet here that has the stages here. We're going to take our worksheet and we are going to cut down or trace around from one of your earlier drawings one of your dinosaur shapes. So we're really just looking at shape at the moment. I am picking a nice simple diplodocus and here I have him. Now what Miss Berry has done in this example is she's got pictures from magazines and she's collaged them together to fill this shape, and then stuck them down and put it on top and then cut round it. So we're going to make a dinosaur cutout, and I'm going to pick one I've not done so far. I'm going to pick this T-Rex. I'm going to put roughly round the shape of the dinosaur. There we go. I've got them here. Now I've been in a magazine and I've selected a load of bits that are black and white. That one's got bits of hens in it, a bit of lace, a bit of abstract pattern. So I'm going to now collage bits from here onto the back of this. So I'm going to use smallish bits because I want to see similar elements in different areas, and I'm going to cover the whole back of my image. It's going to take me a couple of minutes, so I'll be back with you in a second. What I've done is I've completely covered the background where I know there's imagery. If you lift it up and hold it to the light, you'll be able to see if there's any bits you've missed. So what I'm going to do now is get my scissors and use the heel of the scissor. Remember, this is this section. I'm going to start with an easy bit, like a long straight. So I'm going to start with the heel and I'm going to cut one nice long glide, then back to the heel and a nice long glide. Now I'm not going to try and cut all around those teeny weeny little teeth, so I'm just going to cut some teeth shapes and see how even with the angular way I'm going backwards and forwards, but I'm rotating the paper, not the scissors. So some people, when they say that they're not very good with scissors, it's because they're doing it in a really awkward way. So if I go off the line a little bit, guys, I'm not worrying too much about this. If I chop his whole arm off, it doesn't matter, I can cut out a new one and stick it on afterwards. So cutting out his front arms. T-Rexes have very small front arms compared with the size of their back ones. Powerful back legs running around. I've seen Stan the T-Rex at Manchester Museum. If you haven't, when it's open again, it's definitely worth a visit. It's really cool. Right, so I'm spinning him around. Cut, 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 cut. Simplified that foot. Here we go, back leg. And then the reveal, guys. The reveal's the best bit. Are you ready for the reveal? The reveal. Look at that. Look how cool he looks. Now the one thing he doesn't have is any detail on his eye, and that bit of the tail has no pattern on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit more of the paper. I'm going to go back and stick it on, and to cut around it, all I need to do is turn it over. Use some small scissors here. But that has solved my problem in a bit that was a bit plain. So if there's any bits you're not happy with, you can still keep working on him. Now to make an eye, I'm going to just get a little piece of paper. To be honest, it doesn't really matter if it's like a scrap like that, if you can blend it in. So I'm get my scrap, pop it in there. We're going to look back to our artist. Now our artist, remember, did these eyes that were quite cute and they were quite like cartoon eyes. So we're going to work along those lines. Now on this one, I'm just going to draw a circle. And I could just use my fine liner to blend it in because it's black. If it was a colour one, I could use some felt tips. I'm going to just give him a nice circle in the eye. Now you see he's got a bit of character. So if you don't have any materials at all, or some magazines, anything you can use, then you can obviously use the worksheet, or you could create your own. Now I'm going to do this. I've got a big pot of felt tips here. Some old felt tips, belong to my children. They're not the best felt tips in the world. First thing, I'm going to cut roughly the shape that I'm looking for. So I'm not making a background that's really bigger than the work I'm going to do. Trim that down. So I popped it on a piece of paper. Now I could at this stage just roughly draw around it and know that I'm going to work within that shape on this steggy. And with some felt tips, I'm going in for a bit of a colour. But notice the technique I'm doing. It's a very similar kind of green. I'm going to change. There's a lot of variety into the work that I'm putting together. You might say, Maze, that looks like a complete scribble. We don't do complete scribbles. Well, sometimes we do, guys. Now, I can layer materials. I could put collage onto here. Can you do this with other materials? You can. You could do it with crayons, with pencil crayons, other things you have at home. But the layered effect is the thing that's going to make this most interesting. So see how I'm building up sections? I've not just got one patch that's yellow, and one patch that's blue, and one patch that's red. So I'm trying like a range of different things. I'm going for a little circle pattern through it. Sort of putting that down the middle. Now some of this stuff is going to get cut off. So you are going to lose bits of it, but let's not worry too much about that, because if you didn't once, you can do it again. So we've got our steggy again. I'm going to pop it on top and I'm going to just tape him in place. Right, back to the old cutting. So get in position. Remember, I'm using the heel of the scissor, the base of the scissor, and I'm cutting the line, trying to get a nice smooth line. I'll go back to the heel. Now often when people are cutting, they're cutting with the very tip. You can see the tip. And what happens is they do this and you get like a sort of jaggy edge as they're just cutting with the tip rather than this long flowing line. Now if you find that it's tricky, cut off the excess paper. I'm going to zoom out so you can see it's a bit clearer. And here we go again. I'm going round using the heel, turning the dino around. Repositioning, getting back to the heel. So I'm really squeezing when I'm moving. I'm going to go all the way down. Now, at the end, he's got like spiky bits, the steggy, on the end of his tail, and I'm just going to cut 3, make it a little bit easier for myself. And these plates, if you ended up, as I'm about to do to show you, cutting them off by accident, obviously I've done this on purpose to show you, you'll be able to make the plates and add them on afterwards. So there's my dinosaur. Let me do the reveal, best bit reveal. Whoa, look at him. He looks really cool. And again, I could do a little bit more work on him. I could put him on the piece of paper and I could get some more colours. Put him into the pot. So see across the top of his back, now he's cut out, you can get some quite specific like marks just on his back. Now if you remember what I said right at the beginning about this artist, how at the bottom under this one he's got a dark tone, I might do something similar. Equally, I might decide not to do that. I'm just going to do that there, a little bit of dark underneath his tail, onto his feet. And because I've got him cut out, it doesn't matter that these things are going on in the background because I've not stuck him down. And then I could stick him onto a new piece of paper and get some Pritt stick under him. So I knocked his tail then. His nail tail went at a bit of a funny angle. Now remember, the things I need to do, obviously make his plates. Now if I go back to this piece of paper, I could just cut out some shapes that's a bit like the plates. I've gone off the line a little bit. I'm not too worried. I'm cutting something that's a bit like these plates. I've been a bit more careful about dropping them on my work. I might have them in some kind of order, but what I've got is my little plates. They start small and get bigger. Put Pritt stick on my fingers so they're not coming away very easily. But I'm going to now arrange them for you. Right guys, I have arranged them on the paper in front of me. Now they're going to be a real fiddle to glue these, but we're in no rush. I'm going to just take that one and we'll pop it on his back. And then take the next one and pop it on his back. And like I did with the actual dinosaur body, you might decide you want to do a little bit more extra work on these, do a bit more colouring. That's cool, you could have done that. I'm just popping around them. That wasn't one of them. Because my finger's a bit gluey, I can pick them up quite easily. It's trying to get them off again that's the tricky bit. And so that's what you'll do. You'll continue to stick them down. So what I've done here is I've stuck them down now, and what I want to do is just do a bit more colour just to fill them out, because I don't want them to have a white bit on the edge. I want them to stand out against the white of the paper. So where he is white in the edge, I'm just going around doing a bit of a fill. Now I've picked a yellow, but you could pick any colour. You could in theory go around and draw an outline around it, but you don't want it necessarily to stand out and be too heavy. You see how I'm kind of building up some textures and marks, but I'm getting rid of most of that white now. And of course what we can do is go on and make a little eye with a circle of paper. So when you go on to make your eye, you might find it's really hard to cut a real small circle of paper. So what we've done here is I've just cut a shape that will do the job, and I've drawn in a circle, and I can blend in the excess paper by using felt tip and just colour around it so it doesn't stand out. Now to make it have character, I'm going to draw in an eyeball, but notice I'm going to draw it so it's looking upwards. So the position of the pupil suggests a different mood. So if we do a little bit of practicing, and it's worth giving this a go, if I draw an eyeball going to one side, notice I've added the highlight. It looks like he's looking sideways. If I wanted a different type of experiment, I could try with a half closed eye, and that gives a different look again. So in both of these examples, we've applied an eye either to the felt tip base, if you haven't got collage materials, or the collage. This is a different one from the study, but either would work if you give them a try.